Reading is a great activity that helps us in many ways. It is something we do all the time, whether for schoolwork or just to relax. And just like everything else in our lives, there are different approaches to it. I'm sure you've already heard something about speed reading or even slow reading. After getting in touch with these two concepts, I got curious about the right way we should read. So let's talk a bit about speed reading and slow reading and try to figure out which one is better. Reading is not an ability we are born with. We learn how to do it. It is a skill that needs to be developed throughout our lives. When we are children, we learn how to identify words and build an understanding of them. The more we read, the better we get at understanding what is written. The term speed reading was formulated by a woman named Evelyn Wood during the late 50s, and her work, Reading Dynamics. Through the years, speed reading techniques have evolved, but their foundations remain the same. Let's take a look at some of them. One of the goals of someone who wants to speed read is to be able to do it without subvocalization. Subvocalization can be described as the little voice in our heads that pronounces every word as we read. Many people also move their lips at the same time they are reading. The problem with this habit is that our minds can see the words way faster than they can say them. Therefore, subvocalization reduces the speed at which we read because instead of only seeing the words, we are also pronouncing every one of them. Jordan Harry, who practices speed reading and is CEO of UK-based training provider StudyFast, suggests that you press the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth in order to prevent you from unintentionally mouthing the words you are reading. He also suggests listening to classical or instrumental music while reading to kind of mute your inner voice. Cam Knight, in the book Speed Reading, Learn How to Read a 200-plus page book in 1 hour, says that you can try to read fast enough so you cannot pronounce words or think about their sounds. And to achieve that, he suggests that you use chunking. Chunking is a method of speed reading that involves grouping words together to have a faster reading performance. As Knight says in the aforementioned book, chunking opens our line of sight to capture more words in a single glance. The eyes are not set on a single word of a sentence, but instead on a block or chunk of words in that sentence. You look at a chunk, move to another chunk, then another, and so on. In this technique, you combine words that form a logical and meaningful sentence. To achieve that, you can try focusing on nouns and verbs and not paying much attention to filler words. A common practice for chunking is to use your index finger to guide you through the groups of words. The method of chunking is related to another area of speed reading, which is the reduction of fixation. Fixation, as the name suggests, is when you fixate too much on every single word you read, and that makes you read way slower. Chunking helps with that because you look at larger groups of words instead of looking at every single word. The speed reading technique also focuses on reducing regression. Regression happens when you go back to the passages you have already read, and it is evident that by performing this action, your reading speed will decrease. Regression can occur for many reasons, one of which is a lack of focus. If you stop paying attention to what you are reading, you will have to read it again to fully understand it. In order to stop that, it is recommended that you read in a comfortable environment and that you have a specific purpose before starting reading so you can focus. Jordan Harry, the speed reader I mentioned before, advises that you can use an object like an envelope to cover up the sentence you've already read to prevent you from regressing. Speed reading in its basic form is a way of shifting reading habits that can slow you down. These habits aren't bad, they are completely normal and even involuntary, but they can affect the speed at which you read. However, speed reading also has its disadvantages. Studies have shown that as reading speed goes up, comprehension goes down. Now that we've talked a little bit about speed reading techniques, let's take a look at the concept of slow reading. Slow reading, as the name suggests, it is contrary to speed reading. It focuses on not only slowing down your reading speed, but also being able to control the pace at which you read. As it is said in the article, slow reading and speed reading, two different techniques in reading comprehension. Slow readers may speed up at times and then slow down for the more difficult or pleasurable portions of a text. Therefore, slow reading is considered as a great way to achieve a comprehensive knowledge of the subjects we are reading. There is this great publication on Medium from David Handel that is called "Slow Reading is the New Deep Learning." And if you are interested in this matter, I suggest you give it a look because he also explains how we learn new things. It is very interesting. In this publication, David talks about something that I found very intriguing, and that is metacognition. Metacognition, to put it simply, is the practice of being aware of one's thought process. It is thinking about thinking. But what does this have to do with slow reading? According to David, practicing metacognition while you slow read is a way of enhancing your learning and verifying your understanding of the text you are reading. He suggests that you ask yourself some questions while you're reading, like, for example, is this something I need to memorize? Or how does this relate to what I already know? Or what else do I know about this subject? By reading metacognitively, you are constantly in touch with your understanding of the topic. You are not simply passively reading, you are actively verifying your knowledge of the topic you are reading. Therefore, you can understand and learn a lot more. As David says in the publication, slow reading is the path to deep learning. But we are not talking about slow passive reading. The reason why elite learners succeed with slow reading is that they actively engage with the material through metacognition. They use their working memory to have an internal conversation to quality control their experience with the text. So, which one is better, slow reading or speed reading? The answer is, it depends on your purpose. Let me explain. From what we've seen in this video, both ways of reading have advantages and disadvantages. We live in a society that is constantly rushing, and because of that, sometimes we tend not to have enough time to fully immerse ourselves in what we are reading. In this case, speed reading techniques come in handy. It's always good to develop your reading skills to read in a more critical way. Sometimes you only want to find a specific topic in a text or a book, or you are reading something that contains a lot of information you already know, so you might skip some parts of the text to get to the important part. Occasionally, you only want to take a look at a magazine or an article. I have an example of my own. While researching for this video, I came across numerous articles, and I speed read them to see if they had what I was looking for. While reading the book I mentioned before, I also speed read some passages of it that I didn't find important to the topic of the video. But when I found what I was looking for, I began reading slower so I can fully understand the topic I was reading. Sometimes I even read out loud to better comprehend the text and to practice my pronunciation. So it is a fact that slow reading can help you get a better understanding of what you are reading, therefore you can retain much more knowledge. The secret is to find your own pace of reading, and that comes with a lot of practice. By reading more, you will be able to handle what you are reading. Everyone is different, and as a consequence, our reading speeds are also different. There is no such thing as a bad reader if you can fulfill your purpose of reading. Are you reading just to relax? Are you reading to discover something? Are you reading a very challenging book? The speed at which you read depends on your intention. While reading for this video, I came across a very insightful quote that says, "Every book should be read no more slowly than it deserves and no more quickly than you can read it with satisfaction and comprehension." If you stayed until the end of the video, thank you so much. I hope it inspired you in some way. I only talked a little bit about some reading techniques, but if you want me to go into more details on those topics, please let me know in the comments. Also, feel free to comment about your reading style and your reading habits. Do you often find yourself reading quickly or slowly? Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Have a lovely day or night. Bye!